Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Hope you're well wherever you are in the world. My name is Kevin Mullins. I'm a documentary photographer based in the United Kingdom. Now in today's video I'm going to give you 6 very honest opinions on wedding photographers today. It's not going to be pleasant for some of you, but these are very honest, thought-provoking ideas, I guess, that may help you take your business to the next level. So do listen, they're all very, very important. I have been shooting weddings for 16 years. I've shot over 800 weddings. So I feel like I have a little bit of information that I might be able to impart on you. Now this video is sponsored by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform that I use for all of my website needs. We'll talk about them a little bit later. So let's begin. Don't be naive about your finances. Right, let's start by talking about one of the most glamorous parts of being a wedding photographer, money. And by glamorous, I mean the part where you realize that being a creative doesn't exempt you from being skint. But don't worry, I've got a little financial wisdom to drop on you courtesy of the Profit First Principle. Now, the Profit First Principle was developed by entrepreneur and author Mike Michalowicz in his book, Profit First. Transform your business from a cash-eating monster to a money-making machine. You can buy the book or read loads about it online, but I'm going to save you time by explaining how I keep my business in a healthy profit every year. Even if you're self-employed, I encourage you to follow this. It works, and whilst you might think it's overkill, I can tell you categorically that it's not. You see, a lot of photographers think money just sort of magically sorts itself out. What usually happens, though, is the tax bill arrives and suddenly you're staring at your bank account feeling like a teenager at a cash machine hoping for some kind of miracle. So here's the solution. Get yourself some metaphorical jars. Now mine are labeled as follows: 23% tax, 40% salary, 5% profit, and 30% working account. So let's break that down. Every single day, and I mean every day that I have income into my business, I split it 4 ways. I actually have 4 separate bank accounts for this. All bar the current account or the working account, they're all high interest-ish accounts. First off, 23% goes straight to tax. I know none of us enjoy paying it, but look at it this way. It's better to set it aside now than be blindsided by the tax bill at the end of the year. So 23% of my income every day goes into my tax savings account. Next, 40% salary. And I know what you're thinking, Kevin, I'm self-employed, I don't need a salary. Wrong, you absolutely do. You need to treat yourself like an employee, because if you don't value your time and effort, who will? And if you don't assign yourself a salary each month, you will end up with your financial situation out of sync. Take a monthly salary and stop looking at your business bank account as just money in the bank for me. Now, the 5% profit account, this is your little reward, your pocket money, if you will. Whether you use it to reinvest in the business, grab a couple of pints with mates at the end of the year, buy a new camera, whatever. This bit reminds you why you're working so hard. It's the good job pat on the back that we all need. I usually empty my profit account into my personal account the same day I pay my income tax in January. It's a lovely feeling, and it may just be a couple of £100 or it may be several £1,000, but keep it for yourself and treat it as a dividend or a bonus. Finally, the 30% working account. This is your bread and butter for keeping the business running. This is the money you spend on gear, marketing, insurance, all of that kind of stuff that you need to keep your business going. This is business expenses. Essentially, the business should be run only from the working account. Try not to look at the other accounts at all when planning your finances. If your working account doesn't allow you to buy a new camera, then don't. The working account is your sanity figure. Base all your expenses and business decisions on that account only. The harsh fact is, if you can't run your business effectively from the working account, then your business is in a financially difficult position. There you have it, simple but so effective. Remember, money management isn't just for the suit-wearing financial folks, it's for us creative too. Use the Profit First Principle, read about it, and you'll be less of a starving artist and more of a thriving photographer. And I promise you it works. Okay, spend less time worrying about SEO. Now listen up, because I'm going to save you a whole load of time and a fair few grey hairs. If I had a quid for every photographer that asked me about SEO, I'd be a very rich man. Now, SEO, search engine optimization, it's like digital wizardry, right? That only people with thick glasses and an affinity for spreadsheets understand. But here's the honest truth. Most of us are spending way too much time worrying about it. Now, I'm not saying SEO isn't important. I'm not mad. But here's the thing. Most modern website builders like Squarespace, they already do 90% of the heavy lifting for you. If you're sitting there in the dead of the night stressing about meta tags and keyword density and checking other people's websites, instead of writing great blog posts that showcase your work, you're probably mismanaging your time. So let's break it down. We're wedding photographers, right? The job is to tell stories with a camera, not become full-time SEO gurus. I'm not saying to ignore it altogether, but for heaven's sake, don't let it overtake your life. Google doesn't really care too much about an obsessions with alt text. It cares about valuable, engaging content. That means real stories, real moments, real emotion. So here's the advice. Spend more time blogging and less time chasing backlinks. They will come organically. Write about the weddings, write about the lovely couples, the gorgeous venues, and those moments that make everybody's eyes well up at a wedding. Trust me, when people search for photographers, for wedding photographers, they're looking for someone who can tell their story, not someone who's figured out how to stuff the words wedding photographer into a web page 73 times. And when there's a nice blog post up, share it. Share it on social media, share it with a couple, share it with a venue. Make connections in the real world, not just the digital one. A happy client sharing a blog post is worth more than any SEO trick you can think of. It's not about gaming the system, it's about being genuine and showing off your talent. Look, we've got better things to do than become slaves to SEO. Focus on the craft, tell the stories, and Google will take care of itself. And if it doesn't, well, at least there'll be a portfolio full of cracking images instead of a boring site full of keywords. Now, of course, you do need to keep an eye on SEO, ensuring you're titling things right and naming your images correctly, but honestly, spend less time worrying about it and more time doing what you do best, capturing the love, the laughter, and all those little moments in between. Now, before I recorded this video, I went to 5 of my friends' wedding photography sites. None of them had blogged a wedding in the last 3 months, and some for much, much longer. And you don't just have to blog weddings. Take a look at my website and you'll see entire blog posts based on just one photo. I simply talk about why I love that photo. And essentially, if you feed the Google monster what it wants, which is good, honest, regular content, the rest will look after itself. Stop posting endless reels and BTS. All right, let's talk about something that might ruffle a few feathers. Those behind the scenes reels and self-promotion on Instagram, TikTok and the likes. Now I get it, it's tempting to show off all the hustle and bustle, running around with a camera, climbing on chairs, lying on the floor, pulling off ninja moves, all of that stuff. Makes us look like rock stars, doesn't it? But let's be honest for a second, who are we really making those reels for? Ourselves or our clients? Or worse, are you making those reels to impress other photographers? Here's the thing, couples aren't booking us because we look like we're auditioning for Mission Impossible 7. They book us because they want amazing photos of their wedding. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all for sharing a bit of content for suppliers, etc. and a glimpse behind the curtain can be fun. But when the feed is full of nothing but BTS reels, I should say, it stops being interested. It becomes a bit, well, self-indulgent. And here's the kicker, it doesn't really add value for the people who matter most, potential clients. What if instead we focused on the stuff that actually really resonated, like showcasing those magical moments from the weddings themselves? You know, the tears during the vows, the ridiculous dance moves, the cheeky glances from across the room, the moments that make couples go, yes, that's what I want for my wedding. Real content that tells a story and connects emotionally. Potential clients really don't give a damn about where you stopped for coffee on the way to a wedding or what you're currently watching on Netflix while editing. The truth is, there's a fine line between showing authenticity and showing off. If you're posting more about yourself than your clients, it might be time to rethink the strategy. Because at the end of the day, it's not about us, it's about them, the couples, the stories, the moments that really matter. So I would personally dial down on the endless behind the scenes stuff and up the game on content that actually speaks to people. Make it about the clients, not about us. After all, that's why we got into this in the first place, isn't it? To capture their stories, not to make mini documentaries about ourselves. I just want to talk about the sponsor of today's episode, Squarespace. And I've used Squarespace for a very long time now, and you can use it too. You can start a completely personalized website with the new guided design system, Squarespace Blueprint. Choose from professionally created layout and styling options to build a unique online presence from the ground up, tailored to your brand or your business and optimized for every device. You can even sell your products and services with an online store, just like I do. Whether you sell physical goods, digital content, prints or services, Squarespace has the tools you need to start selling online. You can even add appointments to your Squarespace website and start accepting clients if you are doing some kind of scheduling. Squarespace really is the system that I would recommend to any photographer of any size of business. Go to squarespace.com/Kevin Mullins for 10% off your first website or domain hosting. Now, let's be honest about time. Before you roll your eyes and think, oh no, here comes another productivity lecture, just hear me out. I'm not going to tell you to get up at 5 a.m., take an ice bath and drink a kale smoothie and all that kind of stuff. No one wants that. What I'm going to say is this: be honest with yourself about how you're spending your time. Here's the thing, being a wedding photographer isn't just about taking photos on the day. There's editing, client meetings, emails, marketing, and all the other bits that make the business tick. But let's not pretend it's some never-ending cycle of work. The truth is, most of us could wrap up everything we need to do in about 2 days if we focused. There are a lot of lessons that can be taken from the book, The 4-Hour Working Week, but the honest truth is, I generally run my business by shooting the wedding on a weekend and spending Monday and Tuesday working on editing, business, etc. That's pretty much it. We become wedding photographers usually for a better work-life balance, and if you don't think you have that, then it's time to change. We tell ourselves we're super busy, but in reality, a lot of us are just really good at procrastination. How many times have you sat down to edit and ended up down some bizarre YouTube rabbit hole watching, videos about the 10 most dangerous animals in Australia? And, I'm going to be blunt. If you're finding that tasks are taking you a week, 2 weeks, or even longer, it's time to really look in the mirror and admit that Netflix, Instagram, or whatever your distraction of choice is, might be running the show. We can spend hours faffing about with Lightroom sliders, tweaking one image 1,000 times, all while convincing ourselves we're working. But are we really? So here's a little challenge. What if, after shooting a wedding, you gave yourself just 2 days to get everything done? 1 day for culling, editing and album basics, another day for all the admin bits, emails, invoices, social media posts. 2 days, that's it. No more dragging it out. When we stop treating our time like it's unlimited, we get more done and, shockingly, have more time to do other things like, having a life outside of weddings. The point is, it's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. Being busy isn't a badge of honor to plaster on a behind-the-scenes reel on Instagram. Getting things done efficiently is. So stop kidding yourself about how busy you are and start being honest. Block out time, get the work done, and then, go watch those Dangerous Animals of Australia videos guilt-free. So let's be real, time management isn't some mythical art. It's about deciding what matters, getting it done, and then getting on with your day. So be honest with yourself about where your time is going, and you might just find you've got more of it than you actually think. Okay, follow your heart. It might sound a little bit fluffy, but stick with me. It's probably the most important bit of advice I've got for you. Before you roll your eyes and think I'm going all philosophical on you, let's just break it down a little bit. When I started out in wedding photography, I decided to be a documentary wedding photographer. I wanted to capture real moments, the tears, the laughs, the slightly tipsy uncle who's had one too many and thinks he's Elvis on a dance floor. And that's what I've stuck to. No gimmicks, no trendy filters, just genuine, honest storytelling. But here's the problem. Too many photographers, I think, out there are like magpies, chasing every shiny new fad that pops up on Instagram. 1 minute it's all about bright and airy, the next it's dark and moody, then it's neon vintage with a side of cinematic drama. And hey, if that's genuinely your thing, then crack on, of course. But if you're just doing it because it's trendy, well, you're going to burn out fast. Fads come and go, but authenticity, being true to what you love, sticks around. When you're authentic in your work, when you shoot in a style that speaks to you, you create a brand that's cohesive, recognizable, and most importantly, sustainable. You'll attract clients who love what you do, not what the latest Instagram tells you that they should be thinking about. Think about it. Would you rather spend your career constantly reinventing yourself to keep up with every new trend, or spend it doing what you truly love with people who appreciate it? Because when you start chasing trends, you're no longer in control of your brand. Instagram is. Instead, let your passion, your creativity, and your gut guide you. If you love deep, emotional black and white shots, go for it. If capturing wild, colorful celebrations is what gets you out of bed in the morning, do that. But make it yours. Be consistent with it and own it. That's how you build a brand that stands the test of time. And look, I get it. It's easy to get sucked into the hype, especially when you're scrolling through social media and seeing everyone else jumping on the latest bandwagon. But remember, followers don't pay the bills. Clients who connect to your genuine style do. So follow your heart, stick to what you love. The right people will find you, and they'll love you for being you, not for being a copy of what everyone else is. And finally, don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 10. Let's talk about something that gets us all from time to time, and that is comparison. It's like that annoying itch you just can't scratch. You're scrolling through Instagram or Facebook, and there it is, another photographer posting about their 50th wedding of the year, their latest publication in a magazine, or their announcement as a new ambassador for fancy pants cameras. And there you are, in your underpants, editing a wedding from 4 months ago, wondering what the hell you're doing wrong. Sound familiar? Well, let me give you a reality check. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just at a different point in your journey. See, the problem is we're all guilty of comparing our chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 10. You're just starting out, or you may be just starting out, trying to figure out how to balance shooting, editing, marketing, and maybe even just remembering to eat lunch. Meanwhile, the photographer you're comparing yourself to has been at it for years and years. They've made the mistakes, done the graft, and learned the lessons. What you're seeing is the result of years of hard work, not some overnight success story. And here's where I'm going to throw in a bit of advice that might sound a bit harsh. Slow down. I see so many photographers these days who are fresh out of the gate, already chasing after that ambassadorial role like it's some golden ticket. Now here's the thing, being an ambassador should be a reward, not an ambition. Let me say that again. A reward and not an ambition. Becoming an ambassador for a brand shouldn't be the goal. Your goal should be to develop your craft, build a solid reputation, and create images that make people feel something. If you're doing all of that and doing it well, the ambassadorial stuff may come to you when the time is right. But chasing it right out of the gate, that's running before you can walk. Focus on building your own unique voice and style first. Focus on learning the ropes, making connections, and creating work that makes you proud. That's where the real value is, not in slapping ambassador on your Instagram bio because you got a free strap or camera strap or lens or something. So next time you find yourself knee-deep in the comparison game, remember this, every photographer you admire had to start somewhere. They had their chapter 1 too, and yeah, maybe they're at chapter 10 now, but that's because they kept at it, focused on their own path, and didn't spend all their time trying to jump ahead. Comparison is a thief of joy, that's what they say. It can make you feel like you're never enough, when in reality you're exactly where you need to be. So take a deep breath, put the blinders on, and focus on your journey. Because if you stay true to yourself and your craft, your chapter 10 will come, and it will be worth the wait. So there you go, 6 very honest and thought-provoking ideas, perhaps, to help you and your wedding photography business to just get a little bit better, a little bit more creative, a little bit more financially sound, and more importantly, have more time to yourself. I do hope you liked the video. If you did like it, then please subscribe, and more importantly, share. If you have any of the wedding photographers that you think might find this useful, please do share with them. Thank you once again to Squarespace for sponsoring the video, and I shall see you next time. Bye-bye.